The IR chapter focused on three things that we thought were the most novel and interesting things about the election. One of them was the extent to which the voters voted before what we think of as Election Day, the Tuesday after the first Monday. Early voting has been possible in a lot of states for many years, but there was more of it this year than we've seen ever before. A majority of states allow voters to cast their votes early, sometimes absentee, sometimes at an official polling station, but 2 or 3 week period before Election Day. And the Obama campaign in particular, but to some extent McCain as well, mobilized people to vote early this year. So a very large number of votes were cast early, and it poses some logistical challenges I don't think people have thought about too much. In Illinois, it was clear that voting early is the extent to which voting early took place was one of the reasons why it was impossible to revise the ballot when the judge ruled that the Constitutional Convention item was unconstitutional, was badly worded and should have been reworded. It was too late to print new ballots because voting was going to start soon. It was going to start much sooner than Election Day. That's one of the challenges of allowing early voting. You have to get your ballot straight sooner. Another point that can come up is, well, where do you vote early? On Election Day, a lot of schools and facilities, churches, like that kind of facility will allow people to vote, but they don't want to be open for 3 weeks for voting. So there are fewer stations, there's potential for more confusion, and there's even a possibility of manipulation, of putting the early voting stations in systematically in places that will favor one candidate over another, and that's the kind of thing courts will have to watch out for. We also in the chapter discussed two other interesting aspects of the election. One of them was race, that Obama is now the first non-white president, and that sends some important signals about whether there's really highly polarized racial voting in the country. And Jim Kuklinski wrote this section of the chapter, and I think he pointed out the most important thing now is what will Obama do as president. It might be conceivable in the near future race will be something like religion, where it was a shocking thing for John Kennedy to win as a Catholic president, and now I think modern voters, with people who weren't alive in 1960 and weren't adults, would even be astonished to learn that there was that depth of anti-Catholic sentiment in the country once. Could be, optimistically speaking, in another couple of cycles, nobody would even think twice about the notion of a black president. But a lot will depend on Obama's behavior in office. Third section we wrote about was about campaign finance, and part of Obama's victory clearly was he greatly outspent John McCain. And he's pretty much shattered the old system of public finance. It used to be that the presidential election was marked by a voluntary limit on spending. People would receive public funding, but only if they limited their spending. Candidates all did it. Obama rightly figured he could spend a lot more. He could raise the money necessary, and I don't think any candidate again is going to be willing to take the limits that go with taking the public money. So the old public system is broken. Is there another way? If you think it's a good thing to have public financing, is there another way to do it? Chris Mooney wrote a section of our chapter about essentially making small contributions, tax deductible, and then indirectly publicly financing the election. It would be feasible, something that could be done at the state level. The federal system is the one which Obama has broken, but at the state level, if we wanted to implement a kind of public financing, tax breaks, tax deductions would be an obvious way to do it.